Smile. Okay, so Colin, great that you could join me this evening.
Hi,
And
Charlotte.
yeah, it was also really great to meet you. What was it now? 2 weeks ago at C-Day?
No, I think it was last week, no, about 10 days ago or something like that.
Yeah, it was
9 or 10 days ago.
right. It's Tuesday now.
Mm,
Time flies.
yeah, yeah,
Anyway, so like I said, it was really great to meet you. Of course,
yeah,
I
you too.
heard heard about you from our mutual friend Robert,
Yes,
and of course seen the Free World Charter, which is just, in my opinion, brilliant. But I
well, thank you.
actually don't know all that much about the organization, Free World
Okay,
One. So I was wondering if you could give me a little bit of background about how that got started, what's it about, stuff like
sure,
that.
sure. Well, there's not really much to tell about the organization. It's been predominantly run by me, myself and I for the last few years. Only in the last maybe 2 years there have been other people involved, and of course we have had sort of sporadic input from volunteers over the last years as well, which is nice. But mainly it's basically been owned and operated by me, I suppose, since 2011, and I'm very happy with the way that's gone, and it's been received hugely well. So I think it's good, and as you can read from some of the comments from people who signed, that it's something that's badly needed and long overdue. So it's good. It's nice to be inputting a little bit of common sense from my little corner of the world. From the charter website, some other ideas sprang from that. Excuse me, that were that are related, and one of them is the Free Worlder Network, which is basically it's like everyone on the charter is basically on a map, and people are encouraged to give and share goods and services freely
All right.
with other members. So it's kind of like acting out the sort of money-free ideology in a kind of a virtual space, and that's going very well for us. We have that's up and running now for the last year.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been two of us working on that, and that's been basically up and running for the last year, and that's going really well. Happy with that. And of course, Honor Pay is another little thing that has been sprung from that, which is like our little virtual open awards system where people can kind of send awards to each other. It's kind of like a way of paying without paying, if you like.
Oh, I know.
So,
I've honored you a couple of times already.
well, thank you. Cool. It's very useful, actually. A lot of people use it, and I find
Yeah.
it really, really handy. Really, really handy. It's just a way of saying thank you in a nice and symbolic and public way, which is good. So, other than that, I wrote a couple of books in the last few years, and they've gone very well as well. And so, yeah, really, that's everything is sort of culminating in the sort of the launch of this latest project, the Freeworld One, which we'll probably talk about in a while.
Yeah.
But in general, yeah, the history of the thing has been mostly run by me from my own input, and just had the help of a few other people in the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really grown. I'm really happy to say it's grown, and I think it's going to grow a lot more as we progress. So, yeah, I'm very happy with the way things are going.
So you'd say basically it's you and a small team of people that help out, and that sort of is the center of a network that sort of expands primarily from the Free World Network. Okay.
Yeah, well, what we had is when maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I had quite a decent team of people who were working on Facebook and working the Facebook page. There was maybe about 15 or so people working on that.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, then the bottom completely fell out of the Facebook sharing thing, so it kind of became worthless. So that's kind of died a death. That sort of that idea. But that was going very well for us for a while, where people were kind of we were able to rally a lot of support and get a lot of signatures for the charter from just working through Facebook. But of course, that's all but dead now, really, without actually paying for promotion. So,
and paying for the promotion is also rubbish, because you can only do it in one particular neighborhood or area. And I know that from moving forward, I mean, where am I gonna advertise? I mean, this is a global sort of thing, so it's wasting
money. Yeah. Well, I would definitely caution you about advertising on Facebook, because we've just completed a campaign for a new project, which we spent like maybe several €100 on, and it seems to have been completely taken on by fake clicks, by click farms. So basically, these are not real users; they're sort of fake accounts who are clicking on the ads.
Right.
I've no idea. I can't imagine why anyone would do that. I shudder to think. But basically, some people are maybe getting paid to click on Facebook ads, and so it's kind of been money wasted, actually,
Yeah.
I have to say. So
I could have actually warned you on that because a friend of mine, he started his own business and he had the same.
Yeah. Okay, well, we live and learn. Yeah, that's it. But we're getting better. But anyway, we have lots of other avenues. We have a decent, quite a large mailing list and that sort of stuff. So we're doing okay. Okay.
So there's really, in terms of organization, it's pretty much a flat organization.
But pretty much so. Well, myself and a girl from Scotland called Sarah, who are basically the main promoters of the whole thing that we're working on now. So it's really just between the two of us. We more or less hatch our plans and put it out to our network and see how it goes from there.
Okay.
On Z-Day was the first chance I had to actually put out the idea on the new company, the Freeworld One. So that's gone very well for us, I have to say. That was received very, very well. So
yes, I know. I've been following it with interest, and I want to talk to you about that in a few minutes. But one other subject that I was really interested in, I know, I believe that you and Robert worked on something called One Earth.
United Earth?
United Earth, yeah. Could you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, not really much to tell, actually. Myself and Rob were involved at the early stages at the beginning of that with a chap called Justin Ferruta, I think, is a Filipino chap, I think, I'm not sure, and one or two others whose names I can't remember, and we more or less just put the ideas together, and we were kind of working on the branding and that kind of stuff, really quite basic stuff. But we kind of parted ways because Justin, who was kind of the main guy, I was trying to push for promoting a money-free agenda, or to promote a kind of one of these post-scarcity idea, and he was kind of resistant to that idea.
No.
And so really, I thought that well, I thought it was a really good initiative, but I thought unless we were going forward with this kind of radical economic proposal, as I would consider it, that really it wasn't really going to do anything that was astounding enough to warrant my attention. So
no, then you're just you're working again on the symptoms, and you know, I think that's got to be sort of the bottom line for anybody getting together. Also with the World Summit, you know, that's got to be the bottom line. You know, can you see that the whole economic system? I mean, that's where it really must start. And
yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And of course, this sort of this kind of things that they're kind of promoting, like unity and all this inclusion of people. I think it's a nice idea, but I think until we kind of remove the obstacles to unity, I suppose, I think it's going to be difficult to progress significantly. You know. So that was the real reason I sort of backed away from that. I think Robert is still involved with it. I'm not sure. I don't actually know what the status of it is now. Oh, there was another chap called Jan Golding. Maybe you know Jan.
Oh, I've heard of his. I've seen him on Facebook also.
Yeah, he was very instrumental in behind that as well. But I don't think he's so much involved now these days. So as far as I know, I don't actually know what the status of United Earth is. It could be even a dead project. I haven't seen anyone really promoting it lately, so I don't really know what that is. But I'm excited to see the World Summit seems to be gaining in strength, which is really fantastic to watch. And I'm seeing that I'm loving the way it's coming from a very, very small, humble base and growing stronger and coming into something that's hopefully will be commensurate with the problems that we're facing, you know. So I'm really excited to see Troy and the work that you're doing. I know Troy well; he's been in my house, and of course I met you, and I know Robert well, and Sienna has been in my house as well. So we know all these people. So it's great to see all these great minds coming together. And
right. Well, we're doing our best, to get things in shape so that, the whole thing is it's got to be scalable. Huh? You say we're a small group, but that small group has to work sort of perfectly.
Yeah.
Before you can
Absolutely.
pull other people in. Otherwise, it gets a lot of can derail.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. One of the things, I've kind of been working on my own really for quite a long time, I suppose, on my projects, and since kind of having more people coming in later on has taught me how to kind of leave the ego a little bit more at the door and to start and to work on results rather than actually working on pet ideas, so it's a little bit of an art to it, as I'm sure you're probably finding that when you get a lot of people together to be able to find consensus with minimal aggression and problems or whatever, it can be tricky, but it's very doable, and it's something that you actually get better at over time, and I'm certainly learning how to get better at that too.
Yeah, it has also a lot to do, of course, with knowing how to use nonviolent communication and looking for the things that join instead of picking on the things which are different,
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
I wanted to also, what was it I wanted to ask? I've forgotten it now.
No problem. So you're heading off to, are you going to Mexico?
No, well, that's not my first stop. My first stop is Reykjavik.
Yes, you're going to Iceland. Yes, brilliant.
Yeah.
My favorite place.
Yeah, I hope you'll be able to give me some good addresses there, because.
Yeah, I know maybe 3 people that might be worth meeting. I'll give you their contact details after the call.
Oh, that's brilliant.
One guy is very involved with TZM Iceland. Another guy is the head of what would I call it? There's a very large eco-activist site called natur.is.
Yeah.
And he's basically the main guy behind that, and he's very passionate about the money-free stuff and that stuff as well. And another guy who's also involved with TCM Ireland, or TCM Iceland. So there's some good people there, and I'm really jealous. I'd love to be going as well.
Well, you're going next in June, aren't you?
I am tentatively planned to go in July. Yes.
Oh, in July. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you going to be in London for their Z-Day?
No, when is that? I didn't know about that.
Yeah, that's the fun thing, about after I did the Moving Forward Z-Day after party, I've been getting really nice contacts, getting in touch with me, and one of them was last night, one of the organizers, I think, in London, and she said on the 2nd of June they're going to be having theirs there.
Ah, right, okay, yeah, no, I didn't hear about that. Yeah, okay, well, I might go to that as well. Yeah, that would be fantastic.
I'm thinking, well, I don't have anything planned that weekend. That must be a sign. Great. But Z-Day was really great. I mean, it was also wonderful, seeing your presentation about your idea, because, of course, for you, but also for most people involved in RBE, this is a sort of a tricky thing, and I put it in my show, and on the Moving Forward thing, I said, well, it's actually fighting fire with fire. So I definitely see the potential. But how did you get this idea? How did you decide to start doing that?
Well, it was probably a kind of a process of frustration, maybe over the last few years, in terms of certainly the bottom falling out of the whole Facebook sharing thing and social media in the last few years probably was the catalyst for that, because really we were able to really spread our ideas really far and wide on Facebook before that happened, and then suddenly you're left with kind of no one's listening to you at all, until you're actually paying for promotion. And now even on top of that, we know that even paid promotion barely works. So it's kind of I think it comes down to the fact that whatever message you're trying to promote, it doesn't matter what it is, you have to look to see what's the most efficient way of promoting it. And right now, I mean, the most efficient way of promoting anything is definitely by using the market and the capitalist system. You know, it really is the fastest way to get things done and to move things. You know, it obviously goes against the central ideology that we're trying to promote, but we have to recognize the fact that we are not in the world that we wish to promote yet, and we have to act and work in the world as it is, you know. And the best way to do that is, I think, to kind of build a bridge between the ideas that we want to try and express and the best way of expressing that in the current system we have, and that is obviously through the money system. Another problem that we've had is having help from volunteers, which we've had a lot of help from volunteers over the years, which is really nice, but it hasn't been enough, and sometimes it just doesn't give you the results fast enough, or give you a professional result as you'd wish. So it's because obviously everyone is still strapped into the money system, and we also need to work and make ends meet in some way or another. Then obviously the amount of time and energy that we can devote to volunteer projects is limited, and so we're always dealing with people who are more or less at the end of their kind of day's energy, and trying to get them to do the best that they can to do that. And while they really are doing while people really do an awful lot, it's not enough. And the question eventually arises: well, actually, what if you were being paid for doing what you were doing, and you could put away the job? And when you look at it like that, it starts to sound like, well, if we could get paid for doing it, then it suddenly becomes a lot more effective. We can work on it full time without having to stress over the bills and that sort of stuff. Yeah. And so, yeah, that's really where we're at. We've identified several areas of interest that can actually promote the message that we're promoting. Mm-hmm. And further the aims of the free world movement.
Could I ask which areas those are?
Yeah, while also being profitable. So there are certain areas that can actually be profitable. The main one is in education. That's the one that we're focusing on primarily. It's always been a kind of a passion of mine to try and upgrade our education system. And what we've come up with is an add-on syllabus for schools in the form of teachers' manuals that basically describe sets of exercises and activities that kind of teach traits like compassion or empathy and respect and responsibility and sharing and cooperation. Yeah. All this kind of stuff that really we don't teach in schools. Like schools are really geared for keeping people within the system and facts and figures.
You do know I'm a high school teacher, don't you?
No, I didn't know that. Well, then you know more than anyone then.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and I might have some, rebellious materials that I sneak in.
Fantastic. Well, there you go. We see that the problem, obviously, with the schooling or with our education in general is that the kind of traits like respect and responsibility and sharing and compassion, these are really left to chance in our society. Yeah. Maybe people are lucky they have a nice teacher like you who's prepared to share those ideas, but that's not always the case. I'm not a nice teacher. Well, you look very nice. But anyway, I think, yeah, well, maybe not. But well, there you go. So all this kind of stuff is really left to chance. And while we have the opportunity, we have the whole school infrastructure already exists. We have a precedent of regular schooling already in place. So there we have like students sitting there waiting for information, and we're kind of feeding them this kind of crap of stuff which rarely will use in their lives. Yeah. And we have a perfect opportunity to actually put in the good stuff, the stuff that can support the kind of world that we all want to see. At the end of the day, we're all promoting a world which is better. It's not necessarily, we're not promoting money free in the classroom. We're just promoting a world where basically people are sharing more, people are more cooperative, people are more empathic, and people respect each other and the environment more. And of course, once you have all those things in place, then money just falls away. It doesn't actually have a purpose anymore, because money really is just a way of gluing society together, of people who are basically just completely individualistic and not really understanding how the world works, I suppose.
Well, I guess I'm a bit lucky teaching here in the Netherlands, because well, education is really being, in many ways, it's being revolutionized, so that it's much more, that the children or the students are treated as, people that have their own needs and their own rhythms and things like that. So it's getting much more personalized, although not going as far as they do in the Nordic countries, but going that direction. And and also what I've seen from your books, that looks brilliant. And I think
thank you.
It's basically, as you say, teaching the things that are really important. I believe they do that in Japan as well, don't they? That the children, the first 2 or 3 years of school, they only just learn how to be nice to each other or something like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Yeah, I know in the Finnish system, of course, they don't start school till 7, and the school is mostly just encouraging play, which is probably the most efficient learning method there is, in play. Yeah. And this is why what we're proposing is this thing called play up games, which is like it's basically a way of learning the traits that we're trying to impart, but not through fact dictation, but through experience. So basically, you set up the kids to have a game that basically will have an end result, whether it's trying to teach cooperation and sharing, and basically they engage in that, and then they feel the result of whatever happens. If they lose out from acting in an inappropriate way, then they will feel that they lost out by doing that, or they feel that they gained from behaving appropriately. So it's a way of kind of experiential learning, rather than just telling them what's what, because the fastest way to learn is through experience. And so to try and teach that through a medium of games and play, that's what we're working on.
It reminds me a bit. I assume you've read The Best That Money Can't Buy by Jack Fresco.
I actually haven't read it. No.
Okay. Well, he also writes a lot about education, and it being experiential. That's one of the fundamental tenets of science lessons, going out into the woods and really actually experiencing that, or learning how to work together, all that stuff. It sounds very
it's really important. But of course, you see, the sort of society system that we run, it doesn't really incentivize that kind of education, or doesn't prioritize any necessity for that. So, because basically you go out of school, you get your own job, you buy your own house, you just do your own thing for the rest of your life, more or less. You don't really have to pay any attention to anyone else, as long as you can pay for whatever, then that's all. So like the money is just really a way just to keep everyone separated and all that kind of stuff. So the idea is to start with the education, and on the business, you asked me about the business side of things. Like we did a bit of market research, in the UK, and we got back quite a fantastic response from teachers, mostly very frustrated with the situation, the schooling system, and with the behaviour of their students, and that they were really strongly in support of this book. The idea of the book would be that maybe that you had these optional exercises that maybe would last 20 minutes. And the teacher can choose to include that within their day's curriculum or not.
Oh, great!
So that's the point. And basically, we got 86% of teachers said they would use this product.
Oh,
which is
brilliant!
Wow, it's a huge. I really wasn't expecting that.
That's a lot.
So, it's a hell of a lot. So of course, it'll be a product that's for sale. And if we can get into the market in UK, which is what we're primarily focusing on, it's actually worth quite a considerable amount of money, if we can realize that market potential.
Right.
So there you have like a product which is completely in line with everything that we're wanting to promote. It's completely an ethical, sustainable product, and it's also profitable. So there's a few areas like that can be profitable. Another one is we're looking into maybe movie as well, which is something that's based on a book that I wrote.
Right.
And this is it's a potential for again for mainstream market and profitable success. So again, these are the kind of things that we can focus on, and it turns out there's a huge amount of these little things that we can zero in on that actually can make money and help to grow the movement and to expand our ideas.
Yeah, can I break in here with a couple of questions? So as I understood it from your presentation, your profits you're going to be investing in, let's say, projects that are designed towards speeding the transition to a money-free society. Is that correct?
Yeah, the first thing is that all the staff salaries, anyone who works in the company gets a fixed rate. I don't get paid any more than anyone else. No one gets paid more than me. Basically, everyone has a fixed rate, and that will be, we haven't figured that out yet, but it'll be like linked to whatever is the average industrial wage. So it's not like these crazy charities where the CEO gets €500,000 a year for cancer or something. This is ridiculous. So the idea is that we keep everything on even keel. So basically we have very, very low running costs of the company, staffing costs, and we don't have any fixed offices because we're all distributed around and people are working from home. So there's from a company point of view, there's very, very minimal operating costs. So there will be quite a lot of profit then from these things. This will be distributed in three ways. It will go towards other profitable projects, similar projects that are aligned with the ideas, and that can
reinvestment. Of course.
That can be to create further profit. The second one then is other projects that are not profitable but necessary. For example, the Freeworld Charter is something that can never make money, but it's a necessary thing that still needs to be supported and developed and maintained. Other projects like that. We've actually, a few people have actually submitted to me projects which would be similar, that were very worthy ideas but not profitable, but they do need support. And thirdly, then obviously we put profits back to shareholders as well. So we're encouraging people to invest in the company, and this is what I think makes the ideas quite brilliant. Actually, is that we're encouraging investment from people who can actually potentially gain from its success, while supporting our efforts, So it's a way of it's like a win-win-win situation.
If I could just break in here, you mentioned that part of the money would go into, for instance, expanding Freeworld Charter. I'm interested, how in an ideal world would you like to expand that?
It's an interesting question. I don't know. We can. Well, for example, you could advertise it. You could put advertising into I don't know, like National Geographic, for example. I don't know. It's just off the top of my head. If you had sort of the funds to be able to achieve things like that, what a difference it could make. That's just off the top of my head. I haven't really considered it, but obviously the website still needs to be maintained. You could make an app for it. You could build maybe a social network around it, for example, to get more people involved with it. It's not something. It's just an example, really, off the top of my head of a project that will never generate an income, but it is like a necessary project that needs to be supported. And maybe something like World.
What about other groups?
Pardon?
What about other groups, whether or not they're?
No, that's it. Yeah, we're open to submissions from other groups, and I have like 3 or 4 submissions from other people with really good ideas, some potentially profitable and some not. And we're completely open to submissions. So any project that looks like it fits with our ethos and can either be profitable or not profitable is something that we're definitely interested in.
Okay. And given what you've been saying, I imagine that you are going to be the one who's going to be making pretty much the decisions about these things. Have you got a bookkeeper or some kind of financial expert to help you in this, or can you do that yourself?
At this exact point in time, the company is not even formed yet. What we're doing is we're getting seeding investment to create the company. Once the company goes, it'll be like a PLC, a public limited company. That will probably happen in a few months.
Yeah.
We need a certain minimum capital base before we can do that legally. It will be incorporated in Ireland, so it's actually not possible to create the company now. It needs to have a minimum financial base. The way it works, then, it's just to be a standard company run by shareholders, and there will be a board of directors. Probably I'll be on the board of directors, but ultimately the decisions will go out to the shareholders, so everyone will have a democratic vote on what happens on large company decisions. So at the moment, of course, I'm very much a majority shareholder, and Sarah is another majority shareholder. But what we're doing is, as we need funds, raisins, we will relinquish those to raise funds required to put the books out. Because at the moment we're raising 100,000 euros to begin setting up the company and for the developing of the educational books, and that we're already at nearly just about 50% funded on that, which is great.
That's great.
Next year, then we'll have to do a second round of funding to actually bring those books to market, because we need to employ a small sales team, marketing team, and get the books printed and all that sort of stuff. So it'll be quite a lot of expenses next year. It'll be our most expensive year. Getting that product out to the market. So
So what comes up to me now, of course, and I mean, I'm sure you must have thought of this yourself, but dealing with money is going to be, you're going to be really getting involved in that whole system. And personally, I think any kind of transition that's where there's still money in it, it's like dancing with the devil. I mean, just quite literally, you are dancing with the devil. So, have you got any idea, about how to, how are you going to resist the temptation of the apple, of the golden apple, or whatever? I mean, this has got to be something you've thought of. Your history.
Well, I don't know. As the main sort of CEO of the company now at this point in time, I mean, I have never been a greedy person at all. I've never been driven that kind of thing. I do have an experience in business before, but I was never the greedy type, trying to make as much money as possible and happy to make a minimum amount. But yeah, we're going to put the main thing really is the staffing costs. That's the one thing that we're really adamant about, to keep the staffing cost at a fixed, what I call like a fixed maximum ceiling rate, so that no one gets paid more than a certain amount, including myself or anyone on the directors. And that's, in a way, that filters out the kind of the sort of people that you don't want, So we don't want people getting in there who are just trying to make a killing on it. So it means that you automatically need to be sort of passionate about what we're trying to promote before you're going to get enjoyed, because for the sort of work, I mean, you will probably get a better salary elsewhere. So,
you can probably find a lot of teachers. We don't get paid at all.
Oh my goodness! Well, it depends on the country. I know in Ireland, the teachers get paid very well.
Oh God, I've got to move.
But no, so we'll put these safeguards like in the articles and memorandum and this kind of stuff of the company. So these kind of things will be sort of enshrined in our corporate structure, I suppose. But I mean, let's be honest. The world is not perfect. Things are. We're not even trying to present this as a perfect idea, because it's a transitional idea, and we are dancing with the devil to a point, as you say. But the thing I would argue about that is that being completely whiter than white and dancing with angels doesn't actually get you very far very fast. So we have to do what we can to progress this thing,
Yeah.
And all we can do with whatever safeguards we have. Yeah, sorry.
I'm interrupting again, but another concern is, you're going to be, now your time you can spend completely on promoting the money-free idea, and pretty soon you're going to be spending a lot of time trying to get money. So it's going to take up a lot of your energy. Aren't you worried that it might distract energy that you might otherwise be able to use for money free?
No, Charlotte, to be perfectly honest with you, I think that the sort of how I can promote the way that I can promote the money-free thing is more or less spent. I don't know if there's very much more that I can do more than I have done. I mean, I've pretty much devoted my entire life to this thing for the last 8 years or so, and I think that I've really gone as far as I can with it, you know. And like we went traveling around moneylessly in Europe to try and promote a point a few years ago, and of course I've been volunteering my time for this cause like non-stop pretty much for like 7 or 8 years.
Right.
So I mean, it's I don't think that the results that I have really to show for that are really matching the amount of effort and energy that's being put into that. That's being very honest with you.
Yeah.
So I think that we have to take this to the next level, and the next level is actually doing this kind of a bold transitional step, I suppose, to try and leverage the best we can from the old bad system and try and hope that will spring us into the new system a lot faster.
I understand your motivation, absolutely. The last thing that I really wanted to ask you about in terms of the business is the use of crypto. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Zeitgeist also accepts crypto. I'm not sure about the Venus project, but I'm really interested how you're going to be working with that.
Well, it's nothing very startling, really. We're enticing investors to pay in crypto if they want, because we know a lot of people have done very well with cryptos in the last year, especially. So we have set up crypto account. We can accept Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethercoin, and we've already had a sizable investment in Ether in the last week or so. But really, we won't be using that money in the crypto world. We're basically transferring it, cashing it out into euros. So, and this, because the money we have to use it has to be put to work. We have to to pay the salaries of people. We have to invest in the development of our products. And the most efficient way to do that is through euros, through the existing system. So we more or less, like, we have it set up on the site that the people can pay in cryptos, but the share value that they will receive will be whatever is the equivalent euro value of what they invest. So it's really just a vehicle really for us to actually raising cash, I suppose.
Yeah, but can you envision in the future that perhaps, you know, that there would be markets or something within the whole ecology of the company that you'd be able to use crypto with?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, to be honest with you, I'm not really an expert enough in that field to be qualified to answer to where crypto is actually going. Yeah. Now, I understand the technology, but I'm not convinced about the future of cryptocurrency or how effective it can be in solving the problems, because it's kind of shifting from one centralized system into another of sorts, you know. Yeah. There are lots of arguments to be said that you're kind of replacing one kind of bad idea with kind of another bad idea. It's just bad in a different way, you know. So I don't know, and there's so much stuff there. I mean, it's just a gold rush at the moment, you know. There's so many ICOs, new coin offerings coming out, and loads of people just making a shitload of money from it. And that's the only thing I can actually see that it's actually useful for at the moment. Right. It's actually, funnily enough, when I was talking about dancing with the devil, I was the other day, we got a sizable investment, like I say, in Ethercoin, and I was watching this big lump of coins on my computer screen, and actually as I was watching it, it was going up and down like by 100-200 euros in front of every few seconds, you know, like it's the volatility of the value, so it's going up and down. And I started to feel myself getting mesmerized by this kind of like a slot machine, you know, kind of, oh, look at all the money I make. Oh, look, I just made 200 euro. Oh no, I just lost it again. Going up and down like that is kind of ridiculous. So I could see how people get sucked in by that.
Yeah.
But as far as I can tell, that seems to be the only really purpose of crypto coin is basically it's investment in a way of people making money now. You know, everyone I know who is using cryptocurrency is just using it to make money. I don't know of anyone who accepts that as payment for for a product or service. Personally, I don't know. I'm sure there are people, but I don't know if that's necessarily the future. Some version of it, maybe, I suppose, some that probably will be an entirely cashless future, and I mean in the short term before money dissolves.
I think the strongest argument that I've heard about cryptocurrency, as you say, it is another centralized system, but the thing is, it's centralized outside of banks, and the idea of the banking system being taken down. That sounds very appealing, you know.
Yeah, it sounds very attractive. Yeah, I admit that. Yeah. But apart from that, I was reading a very good article actually. Oh, by the way, I read your article on Medium the other day about the condor and the eagle. I thought it was a fantastic article, by the way. Well done on that. It was really, really enjoyable. But I saw another article there recently. I can't remember the name of it now, but it was a guy who was basically bemoaning the blockchain technology and how it's basically useless and it's not actually fit for anything, or it's not fit for anything that's effective or efficient. If I find it, I'll post it.
Oh yeah, let me see it.
It's a really good article because this guy obviously he really knows what he's talking about as well, and he's saying that time after time that the blockchain has failed to deliver on what is actually what's on expectations. And there's a really famous company called Ripple who basically I think they oversee sort of cryptocurrency payments throughout the world, but they actually don't use blockchain. You know, they stopped using it because it was so ineffective.
Oh, interesting.
So the blockchain is still yet to be proven, I think. Okay. It has its uses, but I'm not sure. But it still is it the most efficient way, you know? And that's really where my ideas at Freeworld One has really come about. You know, it's even though promoting a money-free world is a lovely idea, but is it the most efficient way of actually proving?
Well, that's the thing, Colin. You know, I mean, I think, well, you know, about the World Summit. You know, I think personally, I don't think that any one person or one group can say to have the answer. I think. You know, these things, the circumstances are going to change. You're going to have all kinds of people coming together, and I'm sure I'm almost certain there's going to be some kind of metamorphosis going on in the collective working out of what the best way is to approach the situation.
Absolutely, yeah, I agree. Yeah. I absolutely agree. Yeah. I think it's but that's why we need as many sort of people pushing the rocks up the hill, basically, so to speak, and eventually, if we're all just promoting our own little ideas in the world, then eventually, there's going to be it's like an evolution of ideas, is what you have, you know, this sort of stuff that I'm going down my road of promoting the Freeworld One or Freeworld Charter, and maybe you're pushing for the World Summit, and somebody's pushing for the Zeitgeist movement, and if we all just keep pushing and pushing, as you say, it's all going to just munge together at some stage, and it's going to become a very cohesive, strong movement. And
well, that's the thing, you know. I mean, how cool would it be if people from these different groups could sit down together? I mean, this is basically what I'm going to be trying to see if we can organize the circumstances for, you know, one just big table.
I think it's a great idea, and I suppose that's the ultimate aim of World Summit, is it?
Yeah.
You're planning a large summit next year in Iceland, is that correct?
That's what we've got on the table. I mean, you've got to start somewhere. In terms of, you know, okay, how are we going to work for this and getting things started? So you've got to have some kind of plan with nothing set in stone. We have to see how these things go. But yeah, that's basically what we're going to be shooting for. And it might not be in Iceland, you know. There's a couple of other places we've been thinking about, like Mexico, Navajo Land, Richard's Land in New Zealand, you know. So we're just checking these places out.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I suppose the location is not that important, but to get people there, well, that's not true. I suppose some sort of symbolism is nice, of course. I like Iceland personally. That would be my choice because it's like a beacon of world peace, really. You know, with no army. And did you know actually that every October, I think it is, Yoko Ono visits and they light the Peace Tower.
Oh, really?
In Reykjavik. Yeah, and we went there actually. We were lucky when I was living there for a few months. And Yoko Ono came and they offer free bus rides and free boat ride out to an island, where basically they light this enormous big shaft of light straight up into the sky with this playing Imagine while it's going on. It's really nice, really nice.
Oh, brilliant!
I think that's in October every year that happens. So that's interesting.
But I mean, you know, also, you know, considering the whole social situation there, I mean, that's just very attractive. It's quite different, you know, having a World Summit there and having it in Donald Trump's backyard or something, you know, and and also, you know, they've got an active TEDx organization going on there, and that's definitely something that we'd want to be setting up there. And,
one of my contacts actually is a good friend of the main organizer of TEDx. So I'll give you his name now shortly.
Look at that! I'm gonna be busy. So basically, if you were to get an invitation to this table, you'd just say, "Yeah, of course."
Oh yeah, I'll be there definitely.
Ah, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. We're working.
Look at what a great team you put together, really. And Troy and actually Tony. I've never actually spoken with Tony. I don't know Tony yet, but I know pretty much the other people you have on the team. So it's a great bunch of heads. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we're working our butts off, so it's.
Keep going.
But I think I seriously think that within the next month, 2 months at the most. The foundation is going to be so well in place that, you know, we can really start moving on getting people to come in, you know, and really getting teams, you know. Right now we're just, you know, about 15 people, you know, doing all the different things to set things up. So when people come in and they say, well, how does this work? We can say, it works like this. And who should I talk to about this? Well, we do that this way, you know.
It's like a self-organizing organism. Yeah, it's all coming
that's
together.
It. You know,
that's perfect. Yeah.
We're working with sociocracy. We're working with holocracy. We're working with. I picked up something from Peter about systems theory. I thought, wow, that's really useful. We also want to include government styles from indigenous people because. Like, you know, from the Eagle and the Condor, you know, this cannot be a white privilege solution that we come up with, you know, like, oh, we've got a wonderful idea about how all of you can improve your lives, you know. So we've got to get some input there too.
Yeah, sure. So you're heading to Iceland then in a few weeks' time, is that correct?
The 29th.
Okay, cool. All right, cool. And you're planning to go to Reykjavik?
Yeah.
Or anywhere else? Okay, cool.
Just Reykjavik, unless you know I have a pressing reason to get on a bus and ride through Iceland.
I love it. It's a beautiful, beautiful country. It's my favorite place in the world, I have to say. Really,
really? Well, it's going to be all work for me.
Yeah, how long are you going for?
7 full days.
Oh, that's good. That's a good step. Yeah. But do get a chance to go out and see some of this. Actually, some of the better known sites like the geysers and the waterfalls and Selfoss. These are actually quite close to Reykjavik, so you can do a good touristy route without going too far. You know, you don't have to go all the way around the island.
Oh, thanks for the tip.
But you should meet up with the guy from Natur, who I'll put you in touch with. Definitely should meet with him because if he can't help you, he knows everybody, because he's like the main sort of the head honcho of this eco movement over there. So,
that would be really fantastic. You're making me really happy with this, really.
Yeah.
I want to have really literally every day full of things that I can do to get connected, you know, to get this thing really going.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just wanted to mention, I'm pretty much going to round it off now, unless you've got something you wanted to ask.
I'm free. Have to go now as well.
Well, really nice of you to meet up like this, and I did. Oh yeah, Matt told me. Matt Dull from Colio.
Yeah.
He was the one, and Jenny. We had a meeting last night, and I mentioned that I'd be talking to you. And Jenny was really enthusiastic, and I mentioned that. But Matt said that I should tell you that he hasn't forgotten you, but he's been deathly ill, and this is the truth. We've hardly seen him for the past 2 weeks.
Oh.
He's been deathly ill because you wanted to talk to him about Colio or something like that. Anyway.
Yeah, we're trying to consider ways of actually connecting all the websites. There's a few websites like Colio and Freeworld, or our network website, Kindista and Helpful Peeps. I don't know if you know all these kind of these websites where people are offering goods and services freely. I've been proposing to Matt that basically we create like an API, so all the sites can talk to each other, and you can search everything from within one site rather than having to go to all the different sites. You know? So it's a no-brainer. It's something we should be doing, and I'm sure Matt will be interested in that idea as well.
Did you talk? Did you talk to that Marcus guy at Z-Day?
Yes, I did. A GreenNet project. Yes, I did. Yeah, he used to get back to me that way. He wants to include that, but he's very busy with the open source social network side of things now, I think. So he said he's interviewing a lot of people about that, but he won't be ready to talk to me.
Oh, there were really good presentations there, huh? Tim Miller, his open source presentation, that was also brilliant.
It was great. It was great. It was a really good.
Sorry?
So it was a really great event. I really enjoyed it, I have to say. It was really nice.
Well, if I don't see you before that, maybe I'll run into you in London on the 2nd.
Yeah, 2nd of June. Yeah, I must look that up and see if that's a possibility. Yeah, that sounds great to me. Yeah, I'd love to go. But listen, you have a great time in Iceland. It's lovely to talk to you.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, you will. I'm going to send you the message, the contacts.
Yeah, if you could do that.
I'll do that now, yeah.
And I'm going to see, I'll see what's good in this film to put out, because I was thinking, I've got a calendar of interviews until June, and I'm thinking, well, in between those things, a little film, a little interview, that could work fine. So I'll keep you up to date on that.
Lovely. It's really nice to talk to you, Charlotte. We'll talk to you again real soon, okay?
Okay. Ciao, ciao.
Have a great evening. Yeah, bye. Ciao.
Oops.